At one point or another, we've all been told to balance our proportions or create the illusion of an hourglass. But you don't need to create an illusion. Your body already has its own design language. In this video, I want to show you how to see your body like a designer would. A composition of shapes and lines, not flaws. Once you understand the lines your body naturally creates, the fits and proportions that work for you finally make sense and feel intentional. This approach goes beyond typing. You don't need to squeeze yourself into a box or dress like everyone else that looks like you. You just need to recognize your dominant features and dress in harmony with them. If you've ever tried to figure out your body type and felt more confused after the fact, you're not alone. Between all the versions of the fruit system and the kiwi system floating around online, and everyone interpreting them a little differently, it can feel like a tangled mess rather than a path to style enlightenment. But the truth is, the ideas behind body typing were never completely wrong. They just got tangled up in too many rules and opinions. What actually matters is much simpler: the lines that your body creates. I'm going to show you exactly how to do this for yourself, but if you'd like help determining your dominant features, you can always book my body and color analysis at the link below. Trust me, it'll all make sense when we determine your dominant features in just a few minutes. Each of us has one or two dominant features that primarily define the structure of our silhouette. When our clothes echo these lines, our natural beauty feels amplified. The 6 dominant features are vertical, width, curve, double curve, balance, and petite. Vertical is perceived elongation or height in proportion to the overall bone structure and silhouette. Width is perceived breadth or openness of the shoulder line or upper back in proportion to the overall bone structure and silhouette. Curve is the predominant appearance of rounded contours in individual features and overall silhouette. Double curve is the predominant and uninterrupted appearance of nearly circular contours in individual features and overall silhouette. Balance is a nearly equal and blended mix of yin and yang, moderation in all features in proportion to the overall bone structure and silhouette, and in comparison to the general population. Petite is the combination of perceived narrowness and short stature in proportion to the overall bone structure and silhouette. Remember, you likely have 2 dominant features that come together to define your unique form. Everyone has either vertical or curve, and most have one other dominant feature. For instance, you may have both vertical and curve, width and vertical, or double curve and petite. Now that you know the 6 dominant features and how they can combine, let's talk about how to actually see them on yourself. This is the fun part, the line drawing. The best way to see your natural proportions is to create a simple line drawing of your body. Start by taking a full body photo of yourself standing naturally and facing the camera. Keep your arms slightly away from your sides, just so that the outline of your hip is visible, and wear solid colored fitted clothing like workout gear or a swimsuit. If possible, enlist a friend to take your photo or set your camera up on a tripod or countertop. It's really important that the camera be at about chest height and perpendicular to the floor to make sure that you don't distort your proportions. Avoid mirror photos as well, because the reflection will distort your proportions too. Once you have your photo, upload it to a sketch app like Procreate or Freeform, or print it out so that you can trace it by hand. Then trace the silhouette. The final result should resemble a simple fitted dress that traces to the outer edge of the shoulder. Remove or hide the original photo, and now you have your line drawing. The analysis. First, determine if you have vertical or curve. Everyone has one or both of these 2 features. And while most of us have some curve in our figures, curve isn't always dominant. If your silhouette must significantly accommodate your bust, waist, or hips, then you probably have curve as one of your dominant features. If your silhouette skims downward with almost no curve or curving only slightly, then curve is probably not one of your dominant features. Now glance at your drawing and notice what stands out. Try squinting to defocus and force yourself to take in the image as a whole. Even while squinting, does any particular feature appear noticeable? This could be prominent elongation or height, a well-defined waist, broad shoulders, or nothing at all. If your shoulders or upper back are broad in proportion to your overall frame, and you often find that tailored clothing feel restricting in the shoulder area, then you may have width. If you appear short in stature, have a narrow frame, and narrow bones, then you may have petite. Note that it's possible to have petite proportions even if you're up to 5'6" or 5'7" in height, even though this is not traditionally considered petite. The important combination here is narrowness and elongation in combination with a visually short vertical line. If your silhouette creates dramatic S-curves around the bust, waist, and hips, then you may have double curve. If you have elongation and curve or a mix of sharpness and curve, then you don't have double curve. If no particular features stand out, then you may have balance. For example, here's a breakdown of my own body analysis. You can see that I have a moderate vertical line, width across the shoulders, and only slight definition at the waist. While my measurements would be traditionally considered hourglass, my silhouette is not an hourglass. My hips are somewhat squared and bluntly angular. I would describe my frame as more sporty than curved. My dominant feature is definitely width. Since I don't have a long vertical line, but I also don't have much curve, I like to play with both short and long vertical lines in my clothing, but I always honor my width. So far, we've talked about the lines of your body. Now let's talk about the lines of your clothing and how those two things work together to create harmony or sometimes intentional contrast. When you understand this relationship, everything really starts to make sense. How clothing creates lines. Every piece of clothing that you put on contributes its own lines and shapes to the overall look. Vertical lines elongate and streamline. They appear in unbroken columns of color, long vertical stripes or seams, maxi coats, or straight-fit bottoms, to name a few. Horizontal lines allow the eye to rest at a particular point on the body. Horizontal lines can be created by things like belts, necklines, shoulder pads or shoulder details, and hems. Diagonal lines add movement, tension, and energy. You'll see them in wrap dresses, asymmetric designs, V necklines, or other diagonal design details. Curved lines introduce softness, playfulness, or romance. Think rounded collars or lapels, draped fabrics, puff sleeves, or circular skirts. When several of these lines connect, they form the shape of a garment, the overall geometry that frames your body. A blazer with straight seams can create a rectangular shape. A puff-sleeved blouse can create a rounded shape. Outfit lines versus item lines. Here's something that's often overlooked. The lines of an individual item can differ from the lines of an overall silhouette. For example, a long-line blazer has a long vertical line, but pair it with a mini skirt and suddenly the outfit reads as shorter and more dynamic. The outfit's dominant line has shifted. Knowing how to choose individual items that resonate with your natural lines is a very important and useful skill. But analyzing clothing in isolation only takes you so far. Each piece is always in conversation with the rest of the outfit. Even a diagonal bag strap, a long necklace, or a belt will shift how the eye moves across your silhouette. So when you're assessing harmony, think in layers. The item level, what lines and shapes each piece brings on its own. The outfit level, how those lines interact with each other and your body. And the styling level, how color, texture, and accessories alter the visual rhythm of the whole look. Harmony and contrast. Dressing for your dominant features doesn't mean following strict rules. It's about understanding how to use lines intentionally. When the lines of your clothing echo the lines of your body, you get visual harmony, that natural, effortless look where everything feels in tune. When they oppose your natural lines, you get contrast, which can be equally beautiful, just more deliberate and stylized. Let's look at how that plays out for each dominant feature combination. Dressing for your dominant features. This is a super quick overview, but if you want to go deeper, you can check out all the free content on my YouTube channel, or I'd love to work together one-on-one. Vertical. Your body already creates a sense of elongation, so keep that vertical flow unbroken. Create harmony with a sleek, narrow outline. It can be structured or fluid, as long as it encourages the eye to travel downward rather than outward. Some styles that align beautifully include long coats, straight-leg trousers, monochrome outfits, and sleek columns of color. To play with contrast, try breaking your line intentionally. A cropped jacket, a mini skirt, or even short shorts can add edge or a playful or youthful energy. Think Taylor Swift's Red era. Add drama with a strong shoulder line, or introduce horizontal details to create a sense of approachability. Vertical plus curve. You have an elongated and curvy silhouette. Create harmony with shapes that honor both qualities. Long, unbroken lines that have a curved or draped outline. Wrap styles, draped necklines, and bias cuts create this effect beautifully. The T silhouette is especially flattering. A horizontal line across the shoulders paired with a long, unbroken vertical. For contrast, play with sharp edges or unexpected structure. Try pairing a sleek base with an angular blazer, or add edge to wide-leg trousers with pin tucks or artfully placed zippers, or go sporty with a fitted athletic look. Width plus vertical. Your frame is strong and athletic with a natural effortlessness. It brings built-in structure to any outfit. Create harmony with relaxed, vertical dominant silhouettes that give your shoulders plenty of space to breathe. We don't want anything constricting. Oversized blazers, straight jeans, wide leg trousers, and long line layers all fit perfectly within your proportions. It's a bit counterintuitive, but very short silhouettes work here too, because of the long line created by the leg. You can also pull off fitted silhouettes in things like athletic gear or a bias cut maxi dress, because they either stretch and move with you or gently graze the body without too much structure. To add contrast, experiment with lighter fabrics or soft feminine details, especially when balanced with textured or rugged elements like suede, denim, or leather. Width plus curve. Your silhouette is strong in the shoulder, yet soft and curvy. Create harmony with clothes that follow your shape without clinging. Wrap tops, scoop necklines, or softly tailored jackets that emphasize both the shoulder and waist are excellent. Fluid mid-weight fabrics drape along your curves beautifully. Short or midi-length silhouettes tend to feel the most balanced. For contrast, explore heavier textures or a bit of structure. Think crisp button-downs, an angular or asymmetric skirt, or an architectural cropped jacket that highlights both the shoulders and waist. Fit is everything here. Balance plus vertical. Your proportions are symmetrical and balanced with just a bit of elongation or sharpness. Create harmony with sleek tailored pieces and clean lines. A knee-length or midi-length dress with a defined waist, a fitted blazer, or straight-leg trousers that fall in a straight line from hip to hem. You shine in looks that are streamlined but not tight or severe. To create contrast, play with proportion. A slightly oversized shirt, a cropped jacket, asymmetry, or unexpected layers. It doesn't take much to add edge or quirk to your look. Balance plus curve. Your proportions are symmetrical and balanced with just a bit of extra softness. Create harmony with pieces that mirror your natural balance. Gently curved silhouettes that flow with waist definition. Try softly draped tops, wrap dresses, short to midi-length skirts that glide over the body, and tapered trousers or jeans that finish at the ankle. Rounded necklines or other curved design details feel right at home. For contrast, add angular or slightly structured details to give your look a bit of edge. A crisp collar, some shoulder detailing, or an asymmetrical hem can add a lot of interest without completely overpowering your frame. Texture can be a powerful lever for contrast too. Petite plus vertical. Your frame is compact yet elongated, yang in proportions but yin in stature. You have a lot of range to work with from edgy to playful, but details are key. Anything too simple will likely fall flat. Create harmony by keeping a narrow silhouette with clothing that's closely tailored to the body. High-waisted trousers, cropped jackets, and sharpness all enhance your natural rhythm. Mix proportions by pairing a cropped top with wide leg pants, or layer shorter pieces over long ones to create motion. Accessories are key. Use bold shoes, jewelry, or even pattern placement to create deliberate breaks that bring energy and modernity. If you prefer a more timeless look, consider keeping your base look more monochromatic or even classic, but don't be shy about adding accessories to keep the visual energy high. It's hard to overdo it with the details, so go wild. Trust me, it won't look crazy on you. Petite plus curve. Your silhouette is compact and softly curved. Create harmony with fitted or semi-fitted pieces that follow your shape without overwhelming it. Details like pleats, gathers, or small-scale prints add visual rhythm. Horizontal and diagonal lines are great for you. Belts, hems that flounce, any flow that moves outward will work well for you. Introduce visual playfulness with texture and proportion. Repetition and detail are your friends. A cropped boxy jacket, a quirky mini skirt, beading, prints, or bold accessories are all great styling elements to consider. You can easily layer in more personality pieces without fear of overdoing it. However, if you like a more refined or minimal look, consider including accessories that keep the eye moving. Double curve plus petite. Your silhouette is curve dominant but also narrow, with a short vertical line. Create harmony with fitted or body skimming silhouettes. Look for fabrics with fluidity or stretch that can move with your body. Emphasize your waist with wrap or belted styles, and opt for midi or cropped lengths. Tapered ankle-length trousers or mom jean styles are excellent, as are fitted capris that hit below the knee. For contrast, try mixing a structured jacket with a fluid dress, or pairing a sculptural shoe with a skirt. Light structure combined with fluidity allows you to experiment while still honoring your figure. Double curve. Your features are rounded, curved, and lush with a moderate to short vertical line. Create harmony with body-skimming silhouettes that drape and move. Emphasize waist definition and curved lines. Very light and airy fabrics are best. Soft structure that still provides waist emphasis is excellent. To create contrast, introduce a little structure or texture. Even mid-weight fabrics can feel heavy, so choose wisely. And in a leather jacket, consider malleable materials or cropped styles. A little bit of structure, sharpness, or edge will go a long way. Adapting or contrasting. If you're wondering whether you should honor your natural lines or intentionally contrast them, that's where your style words come in. Style words are what you want to say. Lines and shapes are part of how you say it. When your natural lines and your style words already align, dressing feels intuitive. If you have a romantic style and one of your dominant features is double curve, everything already feels effortless. But if your romantic style meets a vertical dominant frame, that's where contrast becomes your creative tool. You might choose structured, elongated silhouettes to honor your body's geometry, then layer in fluidity or softness through texture, details, accessories, or color to reflect your romantic mood. This balance of harmony and opposition is what makes the look feel artful and dimensional. Contrast doesn't have to mean chaos. And sometimes you may want to ignore your natural lines altogether. That choice can create a jarring, edgy, or unexpected effect. This deliberate dissonance can often feel playful, rebellious, or avant-garde depending on your intention. The point isn't to follow or reject your lines. It's to understand them and use them to create your desired effect. Once you understand how harmony and contrast function, you can really design your style rather than stumbling into it. When you start seeing your body as shapes and lines rather than flaws, your entire outlook on style changes. You can stop focusing on being flattering and start dressing like yourself again. That's the real transformation. You might still play with illusions, elongating, balancing, or adding structure, but now you're doing it consciously on your own terms. If you've been following along and you still feel a little unsure, I'd love to help. Maybe you're not sure which are your dominant features, or maybe you're just not sure how to translate them into outfits. That's what I help my clients with in my body and color analysis. It's a completely virtual experience, and right now you can even gift it to a friend for the holidays. The perfect thoughtful gift that outlasts any trend. You can find all the details linked below. And if you'd rather keep learning on your own, I have tons of free content on my channel about how to discover your body type, color type, and how to build a wardrobe that finally feels like you.